Hey guys, today's video is going to be a book review of Reputation by Lex Croucher. I have been a fan of Lex's for a long time on YouTube, so I definitely wanted to check out her book when she put it out. Reputation follows Georgiana Ellers, a young woman in Regency England who has been left by her parents in the care of her aunt and uncle, who hope to introduce her to gentle society. Georgiana is incredibly bored by their efforts until she falls in with Francis Campbell, a wealthy socialite who introduces her to the darker side of Regency society. How will Georgiana cope with this sudden influx of debauchery into her otherwise relatively mundane life? You're gonna have to read and find out if you haven't read it already. So, just for clarity's sake, I don't have that much experience with Regency literature. I think I've seen a bunch of adaptations of Pride and Prejudice, and that's mostly it, to be honest. I definitely want to go back and read some of the Brontes and some more Jane Austen and stuff at some point, but for now I have not done so. I felt that the characters in this book were really very well developed, and they're very strong, and they're very well defined. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that goes on with each and every single character in this book. From Georgiana really growing into herself and learning what place she has in society, to, Mrs. Burton and Betty, who are both sort of less well regarded by the sort of in-crowd that Georgiana joins up with, and many others as well, to be honest. Georgiana in particular, I wanted to talk about her sort of experience with class struggle, because she goes along and she ends up in a bunch of people that really she has no business associating with, and she is definitely sort of moving up the social ladder, on the class ladder as well, to be honest. She can't afford to buy things that they just go, oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna get that. I'm just getting that. Oh, easy. Just whims. And really, she does have to worry about her money compared to them. And in some ways, I felt that this was kind of underexplored, because really, Georgiana, Francis and the others, upper crust, they had no idea, or they didn't seem to have any idea about Georgiana's lack of money, or if they did, they were being kind to not say it, or just didn't care. And really, in some ways it felt a little bit like she should have had, they should have had more comeuppance about that. Oh, not everybody has the money you have, but also that would be considered impertinent, so I suppose that's It's a sort of... I also really wanted to talk about the judgment of Betty and Mrs. Burton, because they're both sort of looked down upon. And I think that this is, and they end up becoming really well valued by the end of the book, but neither of them is particularly well liked at the beginning. They're both kind of looked down upon, and really, it's just superficial stuff, really. There's no reason for the characters to look down upon them other than just, oh, they're fitting into society in a different way than really the characters wanted them to, or something like that. So I feel like there's important points to say there, but I'm not quite there. I felt that the book really did explore sexuality and race in some interesting ways, but it definitely could have gone further, potentially. There's definitely it's the whole thing with Francis and Jane's relationship definitely could have been a bit more explicit at times, but also it's probably quite realistic to how it would have been at the time. Who knows? It's interesting, and I think that there's definitely scope to discuss that more. And the last thing that I really wanted to talk about this book is the relationship between Francis and Jeremiah and Villainy. So those two characters are definitely the easiest ones to label as villains. Jeremiah, very much so. I very much think that he should be labelled as the villain of the book. It makes so much sense to do that. Frances kind of walks the line between the two of them. She is a sort of protagonist, sort of secondary protagonist to Georgiana, but at the same time, she does some really fucked up shit. And so she kind of walks this line, and, like, I felt she could have been... I wanted a bit more comeuppance for her in some ways. Some sort of checking of her privilege, almost. And some bits where she's, like, could have done with a bit more comeuppance. But really, in the end, like, we see Georgiana get her own comeuppance a bit as well, and she learns from it. And I feel like Frances doesn't get that in the same way. And I think that what I really wanted was for them to both have a bit of consequences, and then learn from those, and then sort of be friends again. That's what I would really like. And sort of the ending, the sort of epilogue, implies that there's something along those lines, but not quite by that point. But I think that that's about as much as I've got here to talk about. I did really, really enjoy this book. It was a very good book. I really did enjoy this book a lot. It was very, very good, and definitely a good starting point for if you are a fan of Regency, or if you're not a fan of Regency, because as I said, I have no experience with it. Let me know what you thought of this book in the comments down below. I would love to know if you've read it, so tell me down there. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and that you remember to like and share it, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the thumbnails over there to see other videos by me, click on the link in the description to join my Discord, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!